Awesome. So it looks like we got about 17 people joining us, which is awesome. Thank you guys so much for being here. And we want this to be a dialogue. We want this from start to finish to be a Q&A. So feel free to pipe in whenever you have a question, when someone's explaining what they've been doing and you want to ask them about it or how it works, or you're not sure about something they said or want more clarification, just feel free to jump in and ask questions. I'll kind of help host and moderate all this. So, if you want it to be a little bit more streamlined, you can raise your hand and I can be, Lisa has a question. You can go next. Or you can put that in the chat as well and I can read off the questions. Again, if you don't have that audio capability. So first off, I'm going to just kind of share some of the resources that I've found and feel that they've kind of risen to the top to help equip our churches. So I'll share those with you guys, and then we'll get into the conversation talking about, weekly gatherings. What now? What are you guys doing? Is there things that you tried that, haven't worked? Things that you tried that are working? Then we'll talk about how are we equipping parents to be that primary spiritual faith builder in their homes and in their kids' lives. What kind of resources can we equip them with? And also, how are we supporting parents through this? What kind of things can we do for them? Resources can we give them as they're dealing with this crisis and, having their kids at home for weeks, months on end. So gonna try to share my screen here. And I'll just go through just a few things that I have found to be quite helpful. Let's see. That's better. Okay. So kidsmatter.com just did a webinar yesterday that you can access. And I'll share all these links with you as well in that chat function. But they also created a quite dense resource compilation, curation. But it does have a lot of good stuff on there. And they're always continuing to post stuff on here. So if you just need a one-stop shop place to go, I'm looking for different things like devotionals, what to do on a Sunday, things for parents, has some really great stuff on there. And as well, ministryboost.org has a curated list as well. And as you can see, they've even curated it even to a greater extent. They just have the section on children's ministry, section on student ministry, and then a section on parents. And it's just, a great just go-to guide. No searching, Googling required, just hopping on here, and there's some excellent resources there. Life Church is going to drop tomorrow, Friday, their complete online kids service. And they've just created this specifically for this time. So they're creating it without any of their branding. So they're doing this to equip churches across the world. And that will be kind of a cut and paste, start to finish kind of kids service with the lesson, with music and all that kind of stuff. And that's going to be available tomorrow from Life Church. So that's a great one to check out. Orange Kids has a resource page as well for digital experience guide. And they put all their video curriculum up here as well for everyone to access. So if you're looking at that as an option, and they also have their parent resources as well. And that ParentQ app that you see there, that's a phenomenal resource for parents that they can have. That just gives them like a daily, here's the verse of the month. Here's one thing you can do with your kid today to build in their faith. Another one I just found this morning actually is MrPhil.tv. So most of y'all remember VeggieTales. Phil Vischer, he's created VeggieTales. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the rights to VeggieTales anymore. But in the last 15 years, since he's departed from VeggieTales. He's created some incredible stuff. The Mr. Phil show is phenomenal. He has Bible study series. He has these 5-minute devotionals, all great. And he's offering it free for 14 days. So 2 weeks for anyone free. And then I think it's like $4.99 a month. But that's a great resource for parents to have some good biblical content. You guys might have used Buck Denver's What's in the Bible. And that's like a full curriculum, like it's 13 hours of video from Genesis to Revelation. That's absolutely phenomenal. It's so good. And then I did Ministry Booth, Life Church, Mr. Phil TV, Kids Matter. And then these here are some really good Facebook groups. If you want to be inundated with resources, I've on these and even more, and I've seen thousands of resources over the last days. It is kind of a little bit too much. So that's why I love these curated lists. But if you do want to go to those groups, they're public groups. You just ask to join, admin will accept you, and then anyone can post on there. So people are sharing constantly what they've been doing. They're constantly asking questions and people will comment on it. So if you're needing like a good community that's going to be fast and quick and beyond what we have here, those Facebook groups are going to be great. And I'll, again, post those in the comments so you can get those as well. So let me now figure out how to stop sharing. Oh, I think about it. Hey, there we go. So yeah, so those are just some quick resources for you. I know that went really quick, and I'll make sure I get all those links in there for you. And our Kids Pastors Network Facebook page. If you're not on that already, make sure you get on that. It's the Kids Pastors Network group on Facebook. We'll make sure you guys get added. You can send me an email if you're not part of that, because I think you might have to be added by someone to do that. You might not be able to access it yourself, but I just posted my email there in the chat, so send me an email. I can also post lots of these links there as well. So yeah, let's just open this up. I want to hear from you guys, and I'm sure lots of you want to hear from each other of what are you guys doing in lieu of a weekend service. Sunday morning can't happen. Just those of you that have already got a game plan going and possibly tried something last week, what have you guys been doing? So I'll open the floor up and just jump in.
Hey, well, can everybody hear me? Awesome. Okay. One of the things that our team focused on really early on, I guess it was Thursday night, that we had to make the decision to cancel our kids outreach programs. And we do youth, kids, and preteen outreach programs in the inner city. And a lot of the time our team is running on empty and not having as much time as we would like for intercessory prayer. And so that was one of the things that we felt called to really early on, even though that was just a week ago, was that we would focus on intercessory prayer, praying for all the kids and their families that we're in contact with. And yeah, just taking this as we're still doing outreach online, but really realizing that God was giving us an opportunity to have time of intercession. And so that's one of the things we've been really focusing on.
This is our first week to give it a try, and what we've done is we've put out a Facebook invite to all of our parents who don't already like our Generation Kids Facebook page. And on Saturday, I'm going to post all of the regular lesson plans that our teachers would have prepared, And then we're going to do the Orange video because we've been using Orange, so we'll continue to use their curriculum. And then we are looking at doing praise and worship and stuff like that. And then as we move forward, we're inviting our families to do their own videos of their kids doing praise and worship, so we can use those in ongoing weeks. But we're going to continue on with the Orange. I've been quite happy with the stuff they have. And then at the end of the live stream, the pastor on Sunday will invite our children and their families to go ahead and have their regular children's ministry time now with the supplies we have on Facebook.
We're filming our lessons, or I am, and there's an amazing app you can get on your app store called Big View, BIGVU. It's about $100 for the year, but it's a teleprompter app. So you write your script and it will either go like the top third of your screen or the side closest to your camera. So you don't have to do your full lesson from memory, but it looks like you're staring at the camera the entire time. And so we're going to keep our lessons to about 10 minutes, try and make it really interactive for parents to, like, kids, ask the adults in your room this. So that kids do it with them. But we are just really, really lucky right now as we're walking through the life of Jesus that it's a lot of God heals, God is my help, Jesus is greater. And so rather than rewriting curriculum, which we originally thought we would do, as we looked ahead, we were like, hey, this is just the hand of God on this season. And so we also are just continuing on delivering our normal content in a different style using that app.
Yeah, that's awesome. What are some other things that you guys are doing?
Everybody, we've one of the things we've been doing. So I do youth and kids, and so I think one of the things we tried so far is we did have a youth event where we just did it all through Google Hangouts kind of thing, and I think I'm going to try Zoom next time because there's no mute option in Google Hangouts. But yeah, there's been a lot of options out there. There's a software called OBS Studio. A lot of like streamers and like for YouTubers and stuff, they use that. It's a free software. What you can use it for though is you can do sort of like combinations of things on screen. So you could have yourself up in the corner, and you could have a PowerPoint thing up if you wanted that. We used it for a screen-based game. Where the like sort of guessing game kind of thing, and that sort of thing. So it just allows you to present things. I'm sure Zoom has some of those options as well. I haven't explored it too fully, but that's a good one as well. Also, there is, if you're looking to do presenting some sort of video and you need them to hear you, and you need to hear that you're going to pause it and you're going to talk, so you need them to hear your mic and you need them to hear your own computer's audio. I'd really recommend checking out it's another free software. It's called Voice Meter, spelled incorrectly. That's MEETER. But it just allows, it's a virtual mixing board essentially, so that you can mix your own computer's audio and your microphone. Yeah, I think I'd love to hear any suggestions anyone has around. We've got a unique situation where we've basically only got one kid that actually has a family that comes to our church. None of the others actually have families that go to our church. And so it's, saying something like, hey, you guys can go, talking to the parents and be like, you guys can lead this family devotion, doesn't work for us because they're the only one that has Christianity as a focus in their life, in their family. And so I'd love to hear any suggestions you guys have around a unique situation like that. I'm sure that I can't see your name there. It just says Galaxy, but I'm sure with the sort of inner city ministry stuff.
For sure. Well, yeah, we're exactly in the position you're in. But the Lord gives times of crisis a unique opportunity to be a light to people who don't have spiritual resources. And so a huge part of what we do is provide free transportation to all our events. And so as a result, we have like impeccable contact lists. So contact lists are really, really important during this time. And so we've been able to, first of all, send out text updates or phone call updates about, the cancellation of all our programs, but also say, is there something I can do to pray for you? And so there's kind of that saying, there's no atheists in a foxhole. And it's kind of the same thing. Anytime that any of our families in the inner city are experiencing difficult times or crisis, which is often, they are very thankful to have someone say that they are praying for their family or they're praying for their kids. And so I would encourage you to, be that one, person who can reach out to those families and say, I know it's a tough time. Just want to let you know that, myself and our team are praying for you. Don't hesitate to reach out. Another thing is that it is a very real situation that kids, and in all of our ministries, we have kids, whether their parents go to church or not, are their homes are not a safe place, and homes are not, like for me, I'm just like, oh, my family's all at home. This is glorious. This is going to be like Little Women. We're going to be singing around the piano. But for a lot of kids, it's a stressful thing to be at home. And so unfortunately, we can't, necessarily be there, but for all of those kids in your ministry that maybe it is an unsafe place, we can reach out a little bit more through text or phone calls. And also you can mail them like a little encouraging care package or do a ding dong door drop or whatever the family is comfortable with. But yeah, like Christopher, we do need to be mindful that that for every ministry, there are kids who are, that home is more of a battleground than a safe zone, and be thinking of them. Bless you, Christopher.
Thank you. I just had one other thing I'd love to hear everybody else's thoughts on. I don't know the sizes of a lot of your churches. I'm in a very small church, and so I'm sort of a combination youth and children's pastor, and in some senses the honorary associate pastor and the default tech guy. So I'm sure a lot of you can relate to wearing many hats, no matter the size of your church. So, I saw a meme all around this that said, it's a normal, it had a pie chart with this one small little slice, and it said, normal people free during the pandemic, free time, and that's the big slice, and the small part is work, and they said, youth and children's pastors on the other side, and that tiny slice was the free time. So it's by no means a staycation for any of us at this point. How has everybody kind of managed, wearing many hats in a situation like this, where, yeah, they may be used to wearing many hats, but in a situation none of us are used to, though? How have you kind of managed maybe helping your senior pastors set up the live stream for Sunday while you're also trying to figure out, how do I do youth tomorrow or something like that, given all this,
I think we have to have a lot of grace for each other right now. We're so fortunate. I mean, I'm a lead pastor and our children's person. So that's a weird combo. But we have Marcus and Braber. He just came on in November. And we're so, so grateful for him. And right now, how our team is doing is number one. If things don't happen, things don't happen, and that's okay. And so I think we have to start looking past this crisis as well. I know that this crisis is all consuming, but it will pass, and we can do what we can do. And my motto for VBS, my first VBS, trying to direct it as a lead pastor, was done over perfect. And I think right now it's done over perfect. If that's a 2-minute live where you just share what God spoke to you in your devotions, that's enough right now. And I think people understand that we are all on a learning curve, that church is on a learning curve. And so like just keep the relationship strong between your staff. Reach out to your lead pastor. How are you doing? How's your family doing? Can I bring coffee? Whatever it takes right now to just keep the friendships up, because we know that when there's crisis situations, we lash out at the people close to us, right? We can't lash out elsewhere. And so I think right now it's just a matter of keeping the main things where we can. Can I make a mention for both of you guys talking about your people with abusive homes or where home's not a safe place? Reach out to your RCMP. Right now, they are still on the front lines and they're going into really tough situations because everyone's home, right? Christmas is a high domestic abuse time. Right now is going to be a high domestic abuse time. And so the beautiful thing, we're in a small town, Christopher, it sounds like maybe you are too, is that we have this opportunity to have really deep relationships with people who matter. And so whatever you can do right now to reach out to your front line, we're going to be starting to bring coffee and donuts to our ER teams and to our RCMP as well, and our fire hall. And so whatever we can do right now to foster that in a small town, I think looking beyond the crisis to just be a safe place through it will mean that we're a safe place after it.
Yeah, I think all of us have like a group of volunteers usually that we oversee, or a team of people that we kind of like help navigate through a lot of this stuff. And I've really been reaching out to like my volunteers and people that I can to remind them like we are the salt and the light. We're supposed to bring light to this, like these situations. We're supposed to bring love and encouragement. We're supposed to be caring for our neighbors as much as we can. We should be reaching out to friends who are pregnant, who don't have resources, leaving them little gifts on their doorstep, things like that. Absolutely. And some people don't have childcare right now and have to go to work. So we should be reaching out even to people who are in our community who aren't in our church. And we should be encouraging our church members to, bring that light and bring Jesus wherever we go, and praying for people. Yeah. And loving on people, however practical way that we can.
Yeah, I know one thing that our church is starting this week that we've just been trying to figure out the logistics of. We're starting a phone tree, I guess. So a lot of the leaders in our church have essentially being assigned, I guess, certain families in the church. So to make sure everyone's staying connected. So where we are doing a live service, like most people are, I think, just checking up with them throughout the week and saying, okay, like, how are your kids doing? So we're going to be sending off resources and trying to get that follow-up of, were you able to access the resources? What are you doing for your kids? Do you need anything else for them? And then even just for the people who may be alone, everyone has a contact in the church, and we can try to centralize that a bit. Our church is also in an interesting position because we don't actually have a children's pastor. I'm a ministry assistant, so I work with the kids, but I also work with the youth and I work with the tech. And at the end of the day, I don't make any of the final decisions. So it's about trying to figure out all those small things. But yeah, the phone tree is like one thing that we're really trying to engage with. So I think that's another big thing for families, knowing that they have that one person that they can, for a fact, like they will be talking to them in a week. And if they have any questions, they know exactly who to talk to.
Our church has actually been doing that as well, where we're phoning in everybody with each of the sort of lead ministry people, as well as the elders, have kind of taken a page of the just printed everything out of planning center, and then we're like, okay, let's take a page. And it's been good, I think, because there's a number of people on that list that maybe don't get a lot of contacts Sunday morning anyways. And so there's a few people, I'm relatively new to my church and to um, British Columbia, period, to be honest with you. So it's been good because that, there's a number of people like, wow, I've never actually talked to this person in my church. So it's good to reach out and, connect. So I think it's good. I think everybody should prepare themselves though with their phone lists. I think with the first week, it's kind of like, everyone's like, oh, that's nice. And I think it's a 5-minute conversation, but prepare yourselves for those half hour to an hour conversations by next week when everybody's bored out of their mind. So,
I really liked what Lisa you had to say, that that we can focus on grace right now for ourselves and our teams and our churches. Our church that we're connected with is a little inner city church in Surrey, and our senior pastor literally on Sunday morning, and he's like 60 plus, so he's not of the tech generation. We don't all have a Marcus Denbraber. He's an awesome guy. And he literally just did a Facebook Live sitting in his living room, turned on a video of Hillsong and like turned the phone around, and just did something really simple. My husband and I did a kids club, just song and dance and quick, scripture encouragement from our living room, which mostly it was just our volunteers who had tuned in by that point because this was all developing so rapidly. So, people with limited resources, limited staff, limited tech support, just do what you can. It doesn't have to all be, super amazing. And don't be afraid to refer to those people who have like really bigger support set up. So whichever one that was, Austin, that you had referred to, Orange, was it, or something? Don't feel like you have to do it or you have to do it all. Certainly feel free to send people elsewhere.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm Jessica. I'm from Duncan. I was just thinking about when you guys were talking about keeping people engaged. And I think one of the things I'm always trying to do is I have quite a large volunteer team. We have almost 40 people. And I was just trying to think about how to keep people consistent with their service as well. And actually, that's a great suggestion of like doing a phone tree or something like that, or having other families check in on other families and almost reporting back to church, and just sort of keeping the status quo, I think, is a really great idea. But when you were talking about reaching out to other people, I'm okay with tech stuff, but this is like a whole new world for me. And I think it's really exciting because we get to learn new skills, so that's good. But at the same time, I'm almost interested in almost doing a survey too of like, okay, people in our church, what are your strengths and weaknesses in this time? Like, how can we help each other out? Those sorts of things. And yeah, so this has been really good for just sort of thinking about reaching out to people, but also reaching out to people and recognizing that there may be skills that we haven't tapped into yet as a community. So I just think that's a really great suggestion. So thank you.
Yeah, I think that all this is showing to the, Christopher, you brought up the many hats that you wear in your church, right? But I think for many of us in the community at large, and just like you just said, it's the learning new skills, right? Whether we're children's pastors, youth pastors, lead pastors, assistant pastors, we're all leaning into areas we didn't think that we would be leaning into, right? Especially when we accepted the position or joined the church, right? Like we're all doing these new things outside of what we thought we would be doing in ministry. I think, yeah, that's a beautiful thing that we can all, have that grace for each other and step into these new places and start doing things that, are outside what we signed up for. We didn't think that we would be, buying groceries for the elderly couple in our church, but we step in and we show love where we need to in this time of crisis. So I'd love to hear from you guys, what you guys have been doing or questions that you have when it comes to equipping parents. And what are your thoughts there of ways we can make sure parents are being supported and equipped in this time?
I've been thinking about that a lot because I'm at home right now with 2 kids under 7 and going to go crazy soon. And one of the things I was thinking about was just bringing structure back to our day and back to our week. And we were on spring break, so the structure was, we went on vacation and came back. And I've been thinking a lot about, like, there's a lot of parents in our church who have very young babies right now, and there's a couple of women who are expecting babies this month, and trying to keep that connection together. So for example, like tomorrow we're supposed to have our moms group tomorrow, and I was trying to think about how can we sort of do that. And this is the first time I've used Zoom, and I'm thinking to myself, this is perfect, just to check in with everybody, let the kids talk to each other, and almost have like a virtual play date. So trying to like, I know everybody's trying to do Sunday mornings still, which is great. I almost think we should still be trying to do small group, trying to do moms group, do all those sorts of things virtually. And, I know we're not supposed to gather in groups, but, even sort of, if it's okay with people going for walks with them, on the trail or something like that, just trying to keep connected and life as normal in our new normal.
Yeah, that's a great point, Jennifer. Is it Jess? I think that young moms and new moms probably are a big, group of people who are at risk of isolation at the best of times in their parenting journey. And like reaching out in any way that you can think of to those moms, because I know myself, when I had small children, like that once a week play group that I went to was so huge in being able to get out, but also getting outside and going for walks. So even encouraging those moms who are maybe like feeling more homebound, saying something like, I'll meet you for a walk, is such a great practical tip.
Right now, we've seen the world kind of step up in a really cool way. We are watching paid memberships on websites be free for the next 2 to 4 weeks. And so we are trying to utilize our social media every day to give parents one website that is now free and one boredom buster idea for home. And then we're doing a Facebook Live on our Facebook page if it needs more instruction. So yesterday it was making a live board game. So we did a Facebook Live just to do a little bit more instruction. As a parent, right now is not the time that I want more like biblical foundational content, just to be really honest. Right now is like, keep me sane and keep my kids alive. And so I think if we can just meet our parents in practical ways of, here's some ideas that you're not driving yourself or your kids crazy. I don't need one more thing on my plate. Right now, I just need to get through the crisis and like a little bit of peace, a little, here's what Jesus is laying on my heart. He's got this, you're going to be okay. And so that's kind of where we're trying to go. We're not trying to go like super deep day to day. We're doing that on our Bible study stream and our Sunday mornings. But through that, like right now, I'm working from home with my kids here and my dog, who's really, really loud. And we bought a trampoline because this is the time that you need a trampoline. So I think kind of, thanks for all the support. Lucas was like, why are we buying a trampoline? The world's in crisis. Because otherwise your wife will be. So yeah, I think if we kind of lower expectations, just help in any practical way, I think it's going to go a long way.
Thank you, Lisa. That's an excellent point, and congrats on the trampoline. As well as exhausting parents, I think we'll exhaust ourselves if we're trying to go super deep with the content we're trying to provide every day.
Yeah, that's so good. Just to echo that of, you know, lots of this has even been, I feel, even just thinking through this right now, has been this like big 180 shift of we were doing one thing, and all of a sudden in the matter of days we've just blown through a whole new way of living. And yeah, like taking it day by day, just breathing, knowing that, you know, we just need to get through this is priority number one, right? Even this shift, and I'm again just processing this now of, you know, parents being the primary spiritual influence. And Lisa, you touched on that of, hey, these 2 weeks, if I can just get through these 2 weeks, that's a win, right? So maybe what's the way that we can encourage parents to just survive, right? We talk a lot about in church ministry of how, you know, we want to do more than survive, we want to thrive, but maybe this isn't the time for that. Maybe this is the time just, okay, let's just kind of thrive. And, you know, we still need to be connecting. We still need to be doing our job at shepherding and pastoring. It's not an excuse just to drop off the map for a couple of weeks or for a month. But yeah, like even myself with just all the kids ministry groups that I'm part of, and seeing just that being inundated with so many resources, and just it's overwhelming, to seeing everything that's out there. And I could imagine for parents, it could be the same, right? If they're just getting thrown at so many resources, and they're probably getting stuff from other Facebook groups, other friends, other Instagram accounts, other YouTube channels that they're on. I know a big thing that I've been hearing is, and you probably got it too, about all the emails that people are getting from all the different companies explaining what they've been doing about the COVID-19. And you're like, you know, I signed up for this thing like 2 years ago and never used it again. And all of a sudden you're getting these emails from these companies, and you're like, oh, I just leave me alone. Right. So yeah, that's all such good things.
That's an awesome point, and I really like Lisa's tip of just sending out one thing a day and then some support if needed. I kind of had a similar experience to the information overload when I started homeschooling about 8 years ago. And you know, there's so many Facebook groups and so many links, and as soon as people hear that you're homeschooling, they send you all the things that you should be doing. And it was like drinking from the fire hose sort of thing, which I think probably a lot of parents are experiencing right now, and especially because they might be on social media more. So I think the less is more approach is probably helpful at this time. And one advice that I got as an early homeschooler that I think can be, you know, still in any situation is just two things. What is your family good at? Like, what is your, as a parent, your kind of gifting? And like, just focus on those things. Like, you don't have to be good at everything. And if you're schooling your child for the next month or so, don't focus on what other people are good at, but focus on what you're good at as a family. So if your family's natural inclination is to play board games or to watch Disney movies or to read or whatever, just be good at the things you're good at. And then the other one is read. And so for parents who are now thinking, oh my gosh, my child's going to fall behind in this, that, or the other thing, honestly, even if your kids are older, reading aloud is so good for your brain, their brain, for connection. And so even if your kids aren't readers, you can still read aloud. So just, I think it's a really good point that we don't have to be then now all of a sudden doing all these great and amazing things and like I never taught my kids art when I homeschooled because I suck at that. So just focus on what you're good at.
Lynn, if I can just say big kudos to you. I was homeschooled myself growing up, so and I know homeschool moms, real MVPs right there, I gotta say. All moms, of course, but I think to what Lynn was saying, growing up when I was homeschooled as well, like parents taught what they were good at, but the nice thing was that they often were in circles of other homeschool families in which maybe you're not good at art, but so and so's mom is, and so your kids can learn from that. And so if parents, that's maybe a resource that you can offer to parents. If there's one parent within your community who's good at science, if there's one parent in your community who's good at art or whatever, and they want to take advantage of something like Zoom and kind of trade off that kind of thing to give their kids a little something to learn and to do, and keep them occupied and just out of each other's hair for about 5-10 minutes, and that's a suggestion right there too.
Yeah, this has all been incredible stuff, and just kind of in our final moments here, again, we want to respect your time and don't want to carry this on forever, but would love just to open this up. We got some incredible minds on this Zoom call right now. So what are some of the questions that you guys have or want to open up to the group? Just whether it's a practical thing that you're facing, or maybe it's a more specific question on a resource or a technology platform that you just need some help with. Whatever it is, let the questions fly away.
If I may, just real quick, sorry, I know I'm talking a lot, but one of my students actually was just messaging me, and this is maybe just something to be aware of in this time. He was just messaging me how they were getting a lot of culty flyers all of a sudden now that everybody's stuck at home. So maybe just be aware that you might have to have some interesting theological conversations, as not only is the church trying to use this opportunity, but there are those out there that might be trying to take advantage of this in a negative way. So maybe just keep that in the back of your mind.
I just want to say hi to Trevor Finstad. Hey, bro.
Yeah, and we just got our comment from Christine, just saying that their parents are getting overwhelmed with the resources as well. So they created a Pinterest board, just kind of consolidated all, just a single spot for their parents to go. That's great. But yeah, any questions from you guys we can answer as a group or brainstorm together?
Well, there are some other families in our church that have multiple kids like us. So Ellie, my wife, she was calling some of the parents, some of the Sunday school parents, and a lot of their kids are in our kids' Sunday school classes. So, and they're kind of going insane, a lot like Lisa was talking about. So Ellie kind of offered, how about Tally, our daughter, she's 4, like how about they have like a little Zoom play date? So that's just one thing that Ellie's been offering to a couple parents, and I thought it was a cool idea.
Last night we tried running our youth on Messenger, and we quickly realized we could only fit 8 students on it, including leaders, so 8 people. And if you do have a smaller group and you are, say, you're friends with people with small kids or younger kids, there's some games on there. They're just like really like kind of like childish games, but might be really fun for you to have opportunities to play like video games with other people's kids and on Messenger, right? But Zoom is definitely something that we're going to utilize for youth ministry, and we're going to try with kids ministry somehow. The other thing too is like this is spring break, so I wasn't fully expecting all this. Like that's you know, a lot of people have travel plans, and a lot of people probably think that kids ministry goes to the bottom of the list, right? Everybody's thinking, okay, what are we going to do for services? What are we going to do for youth? It's easier to connect with youth on in general, right, on social media. So these are some great ideas that I'm getting from you guys. You know, it's hard at, you know, even my age. I've been doing this for quite a while, and trying to adapt from the way I've been doing things for whatever 18 plus years. And so yeah, it's a challenge. I think we just pray for each other, encourage one another, and it's great hearing all these examples of what everybody's doing.
Has anybody had any challenges with Zoom, either with getting people to migrate to it, or to just in legs or anything? Because originally I was steering away from Zoom, to be perfectly honest, only because all the news things I was seeing was that basically every university in the continent has decided to jump on Zoom, and so I was hearing a lot about, you know, servers being backlogged and all this kind of stuff, and it just being, I mean, this call looks awesome. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm not having any lag or quality issues at all. So, but has anybody else experienced issues at all?
I've heard all the free options are off because of the high usage, but
And also welcome Austin to the BC district.
yeah.
Jumped in with Spark and now with COVID.
Yeah, thank you. But even to mention that with Zoom, it could be that it's, you know, the difference between the free accounts and paid accounts. Like at the district office, because we use Zoom frequently, we have one of the paid tiers, so that could make the difference of a you know, a higher quality of Zoom call.
Hey Austin, do you know the difference of? So I'm looking at purchasing it.
Yeah.
There's the free, the small, and then the business. Business you can have up to 10 hosts. Does that mean like 10 people can have access to leading meetings?
Yeah.
Oh, is that what you guys have, or do you guys have?
To be honest, I don't know. I can get you in touch with Devin. He's the one that handles our Zoom account.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Yeah, if anyone does have questions about that, I can connect you with him. I can answer some of the how-tos of using it, but when it comes to the purchasing and what tiers will work for your church, he would be a great resource for that.
There's a great more for youth ministry, but they do kids ministry as well, and it's the Grow curriculum, and it's what's it called, stuff you can use.
Yeah.
And they have there's a ton of like youth pastors and kids pastors, I'm sure, that are on it, that are putting questions like what are ways that we can engage students on Zoom and other platforms. A lot of great material, so getting lots of ideas. I've got like a list of like 12 to 15 things you can do on Zoom. Some of them seem kind of like not the greatest ideas, but like even our last night's discussion, I was like, hey, well, why don't we do like show and tell, right? And so like everybody's in their house, and you know, like you know, I was able to show people my cat and talk about my cat, and something that means a lot to you know, students, something in their room, whatever. Like Would You Rather, Mad Libs, there's Cahoots, there's you could do charades, like show and tell. There's a whiteboard option. I don't know, just different ways to think creatively.
I know one of the things that we're looking at for our next preteen event is, yeah, Kahoots for sure, Kahoots games, online sort of stuff. I'm not the techie one on our team, so I wouldn't be able to explain it, but one of the things we're also thinking of doing is doing like DoorDash or Uber Eats for prizes, so that we can still kind of like have interactive games and then like send the kids a Slurpee or whatever. You know, if Uber Eats and DoorDash or whatever still exists in the, you know, the weeks to come.
One of the youth guys said, do a pizza delivery.
Yeah, like that right there, I think that's a fantastic idea of, you know, being able to bless people or do prizes or interact in that way, and like and even help, you know, stimulate the economy at the same time. And because that, yeah, that's one of, like the big concerns going around is people losing jobs and what the economy is going to be like. So yeah, the more that we can continue to help people out and use those services that we can use, the better it is there.
Yeah, the other thing I was just gonna say, this is kind of more for older kids, but also just relevant to preteens. I know a lot of us work with preteens. A lot of, I know at least at our youth group, a large portion of the youth and of the preteens are really tech savvy, and they're really knowledgeable on how to do a lot of games online with other people. So I personally am only just learning about it now since the situation, but I think like connecting with some of the preteens and like asking them how they do it, because I know that there's a software, for example, like you can get an app on your computer that lets you say if you know you already have games on your computer, other people can connect to your computer and watch you play the games or play with you. So you act, and you can also be audio chatting while you're doing this. So essentially they can be playing video games together. I know our youth are really into that. We even used to have like video games nights with them and the preteens. So if there's any, a lot of the preteens would know a lot more about that, I guess is what I'm saying. So, but like looking into that, because there's a lot of really cool options, like not even just with video chatting, but like they can actually do what they normally do with friends from a distance. So I'm looking into that, and the app that lets you stream the computer, if anyone's curious, is Parsec. So I don't know the limits of that. Like I said, I'm not too great with it, but have some connections. So yeah.
Yeah, this has been great, and again, we'll get you guys off and on your ways to planning and preparing and staying alive through all this. But just, yeah, I'm just going to copy these links here, and again, I guess I'll share them as well on our Kids Pastors Network page as well. And one of the other things I didn't mention too, I have it at the bottom here, is other POC districts Facebook pages, because all the districts across the provinces, again, are all posting resources, sharing articles, sharing blogs. So it's another good go-to. You know, go to the Alberta Northwest Territories District POC, just search that online or Facebook. You know, we got the Western Ontario, Eastern Ontario, Manitoba, Quebec. They're all sharing really good stuff, so you can check them out as well. And one last thing I'll just quickly mention here, we can chat about it another time or another medium, but dealing with the kids and grief. I mentioned this when talking with the youth pastors, specifically thinking about the grads and what they're going through right now. And for a lot of us that, you know, are out of school and we're like, you know, grad's not worth it, it's not important, you forget about it. But for them, it's real. It's hurting them. It's a loss to them. So they will be going through a grieving process, and that will trickle down through all different ages whether that's a field trip, a band trip, their year-end party, them being able to hang out with their friends every day to now they can't. You know, I've seen a lot about anxiety and how to help kids through anxiety, but I've yet really to come across anything when it comes to grief. But I definitely think that is going to be a hot topic. So if you guys do find anything on that, please kind of get that circulating, share that with me. I'd love to see that, because I feel like that's what kids are going to be going through quite a bit, is that loss. And, you know, we can't take it lightly. It's real, and they'll be feeling it through all those things that have been canceled, that they can't go to, that they've been looking forward to for years. I like grade 12s especially, I really feel for them. Like, they going through 12 years of school for this final pinnacle moment, and then all of a sudden just gets pulled out from under your feet. I just can't imagine what some of those kids are dealing with, just emotionally and mentally. So be on the lookout for that through all ages, like even the, you know, grade 5 graduations into grade 6 and all that too. Like, for us, you know, it might seem like a silly thing, but for kids, those are big moments in their lives, and they're important to them, and we need to show them that they are important and help walk them through that. So yeah, I'll leave you guys with that, but let me close in prayer as well. And then, yeah, we can go conquer the world together. So let's pray. God, I just thank you so much for this incredible group of leaders, and just this sharing of thoughts and ideas. And it's so incredible to know that all this is coming from you, God. You are the source of our inspiration, our creativity. And may you just continue to guide us and direct us and lead us in the ways that we need to go. Help us to find peace and rest as well. Help us to know when enough is enough, and how much that we need to be pouring in, and when we need to pull back. God, this is going to be a delicate dance for the next weeks and months, and we can't do this without you. So God, just fill everyone here with just incredible direction, incredible inspiration. Give them the strength. Many of them, again, they're the ones that have kids at home and are dealing with now possibly 5 months of summer vacation. God, give them the strength and the patience that they need, and just help all of us extend your grace to each other in these heightened moments of stress, anxiety, grief, and all the other emotions that are going on. May grace be just at the forefront of all our actions and all our comments and the things that we do. May we think about you foremost and each other second. And yeah, help us as we continue to move forward in this. And we pray this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Well, thank you guys so much for being part of this. It's really, it's huge. Even just your presence being here, knowing that there's a community together, that we're really to help each other out. We are better together. Whether you just came to listen, whether you gave input, whatever contribution you gave was incredible. And even just your presence being here, it is so good. So thank you guys so much. We'll maybe try to do this again in a week or so time, just to connect and see where everyone's doing, see how things have changed and all that. So yeah, God bless all of you guys, and let's continue to connect. We got so many different ways to connect in 2020. So let's continue to do that and check in on each other, see how each other are doing, and let's do this with God and together. So take care and enjoy your weekend.
See you, everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you, Austin, for bringing us together.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Austin.
Bye.
Thank you.